Hi, class. I heard a quote from an unknown author recently, and it said, It's easier for me to change my mind than it is for me to make a decision. And I wish I couldn't relate so much, but I do. Trying to figure out what to talk about today, I asked a few people around me some things about me, and one thing that came up multiple times is that I'm super indecisive. I'm going to tell you a little about my life, and maybe you can tell why they say that. I'm an Arizona native who was blessed with two siblings to annoy as a child, my younger sister Katie and an older brother Kevin. I have always loved animals. We had a lot of pets growing up, but I have never been able to tell anybody my favorite animal. I just can't decide. I didn't have a favorite pet. I don't have a favorite animal. I don't have a favorite color. I don't have a favorite food. Every time somebody would ask those questions, I would either just make something up or tell them I wasn't sure. I also could never decide what extracurriculars to take, so I ended up taking everything I could. I took piano, violin, swim, gymnastics, softball, drama, you name it. I took all sorts of things. I have always loved school and I've always loved to learn, so that's one thing that's been sort of consistent. But my learning was disrupted when I had to drop out of high school after a life event left me homeless. So in my early 20s, I met my now boyfriend, now of 15 years. And at that time, 6 years later, we had a child. So I left the hospital with my son with no name because I couldn't decide what to name him. It took me forever to figure it out. It was such a hard, permanent decision to make. 2 months later, I finally settled on the name Donovan Thomas Romero. That little boy is what has encouraged me. And so I went back to get my GED and started taking classes at MCC. I couldn't decide what classes to take or what degree to work on, so I took just numerous classes. So many classes that I ended up graduating with my associate's degree with more classes than I needed just to get my bachelor's. So I had like 130 classes just at the community college level. I probably would have continued, but I had a mentor and professor who told me it was time to move on, so I did. I ended up graduating from ASU, summa cum laude, with two different degrees, one in biochemistry and one in mathematics, because I couldn't decide. I spent so much time in college, so much time at MCC when I was in college that eventually they offered me a position as a math tutor. And so I did. I was having a hard time deciding what to do for work anyway. So I took their offer and I started tutoring math at the college. And I still work for Maricopa Community Colleges today. I just now coordinate the STEM tutoring at one of the other college campuses. So I like to continue taking classes to better myself and try to figure out more about me and maybe figure out what I want to be when I grow up, which is why I'm taking this class just because public speaking is a really weak area for me. So I was trying to improve. Um, I don't know, even with all the classes that I've taken, I still can't figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I envy my 9-year-old son who's so confident in his decision and knows exactly what he wants to be already. Now that could change, but we'll see. But since he was so confident in what he wanted to be when he grows up, I asked him what I should be when I grow up. And he told me that I should be a NASA astronaut. I'm not sure if that stems from his love of space or if he just wants to send me as far as he can across the galaxy, but either way, it's something to consider. I am indeed an indecisive person. I really struggle with making decisions, and I feel like that's held me back a lot in life. You can't progress without making decisions. So I'm going to focus on making more decisions. Even wrong ones are better than none at all. And deciding on what to tell you today about me was my first step. Thank you.